Let's start with Texas, Michigan, where you were at, David. I put on social media at halftime, and it rung true. If you were a Michigan fan and this was a game that Texas won because, like we talked about, Sark dialed it up a couple times. Offensively, you just really weren't able to move the ball due to balance, and you shot your shot, trick plays, whatever it was. That's one thing. But I think Texas out Michigan in this game. In every aspect, from the physicality standpoint up front on the line of scrimmage, from the ability to extend the play at the quarterback position from within the pocket, which Quinn Ewers may be the best at in the country. I'm talking about just from within the pocket, not outside the pocket as well, but from within the pocket, and then doing the little things right and not making the mistakes. Quinn was 24-36 for 250, 3 touchdowns. Davis Warren, who I didn't think was awful, but we kind of got an idea of who he is through 2 interceptions on 100 or 240 yards. But when you look at the rushing, Michigan didn't get 100 yards rushing. That to me, and I know Fresno State last week, Michigan struggled a little bit, but if you're a Texas fan, I would take more solace out of the fact that the physicality that we saw that elevated them last year and kind of got them out of that rut seems like it's here to stay. Regardless of how good you think Michigan is, and there's some talented guys there, but Wingo, had that one carry for 55. It wasn't like anybody had 120 yards rushing by themselves. But when you're having to do this running back by committee thing, like Texas is having to do after a couple injuries in fall camp, man, they dominated the game, Dave.
Well, I feel a lot better about picking Texas to play in the national championship now. The product that Michigan ran out there yesterday was not a championship ball club. In many respects, it was pathetic, and I can't even say a good thing about much of the team except the kicker. The kicker's very reliable. For Michigan fans still trying to look to be positive, Jake, I think you hit on a couple of those points. One, that's a non-conference loss, right? Like Alabama lost to Texas in the non-conference last year, ended up running the table. And there are some other teams in the Big Ten right now that don't look like world beaters, like Oregon and like Penn State. And so Michigan, look, they can keep their head up and still work towards the future, but that's not a playoff team that I saw yesterday. So I really just want to focus on Texas because that is a championship ball club. They are balanced. They play complementary football. Quinn Ewers is poised and is just delivering the football every way imaginable, and Steve Sarkisian is still calling plays. So I think Texas really is Texas is going to beat a lot of teams on their path to the college football playoff. Feel a lot better about that pick now. And look, they're going to get plenty of opportunities. They're going to get Georgia coming to town, and they'll get Texas A&M at the end of the season, which will be a cool rivalry game. But hats off to them for the way they played and the game plan that they had coming in.
Blaine, when you watch Texas, the another thing, if I'm a Texas fan, that I'm waking up this morning and realizing, and it's a good thing, is that I know you really didn't turn the ball over, but there was some mistakes that you can still clean up to play even better. Now, again, Michigan is not what they were last year. I don't want to make it seem like Michigan and Georgia, it's Texas going in there and beating a Michigan team like they had last year. But there was multiple times where the running back communication with Quinn Ewers wasn't good. He had to take a knee a couple times, basically, in regulation. You had a couple other miscommunications. But outside of that, man, whether it's Isaiah Bond, right, whether it's Helm at tight end, who I thought looked good, Golden, any of those guys, it just seems like Texas has so many weapons. They can give it to you however you want it. And watching, Wink Martindale try and bring pressure and then mix it and do things like that, Sark's always going to have an answer. But Quinn seems to be a step ahead. He looks like a quarterback, Blaine, that has seen so much, and there's been so many different game plans thrown at him that he's not surprised by anything anymore. And when you reach that level, it's almost serenity. It's almost, I've got nothing else to fear. And if that's the case, that mixture with him and Sarkisian's ability to not only dial it up, but to know when to go for your throat, know when to understand we can't leave any prisoners. We got to kill them all. This Texas team, they're a top 3 team in the country.
No, yeah, I agree. And I think the arsenal is pretty damn deep when it comes to weapons at Texas. There's one thing I do want to point out that is from yesterday. If you go 10 for 16 against any team on third down, it's going to be hard for you to lose that game. And the thing about Michigan, the way this team is built, it's hard for them to come back. It really is. And you find yourself down 24-3 in the first half, you're going to have to start throwing. You're not going to be able to run it back. But I do want to say this. It's amazing to watch how in sync Sark and Quinn Ewers are. And you can see that on the field. That bleeds into that system. There's no questions. Quinn knows exactly what he's looking at. He trusts his receivers and he trusts his Sark from a play calling standpoint. I didn't see Quinn look uncomfortable this entire game. And right now, there is small things that they need to fix that Sark will get right. But I don't know how you don't look at this Texas team and this Texas roster and think they aren't good enough to play for a championship.
And David, a question that we asked during the week was, and against Colorado State, the defense was fantastic. They shut him out. But, we wanted to see it against increased competition, especially on the line of scrimmage. We wondered if losing Bo Davis to LSU, if it would affect that culture a little bit on defense. But a couple things from Texas I saw defensively. One, the defensive line plays extremely well with their hands, which is 70% of the battle. Whether it's having guys mix up pass rush moves on the end, not just giving you the bull rush, whether it's guys being able to engage and then disengage big offensive linemen that can move to not only get in the way, but make the tackle. But I thought the tackling in open space, again, not that Michigan has an unbelievable amount of explosive players, but if I'm a Texas fan again, I am so excited this morning that our culture and their culture has set foot on defense, that we're going to be physical. Yes, Sarkisian's an offensive guy. Yes, we got Quinn Ewers that's going to be damn near the top of the Heisman race. But this is a team that if the offense is not clicking can win 17-14. This is also a team that if the defense is not clicking can win 45-42. So there's not an environment, because this is 2 straight years Sark has gone on the road and eaten a big brand in their house. He did it to Bama last year. He did it to Michigan this year. This Georgia-Texas matchup coming down the road is going to be absolutely fascinating, because you can make an argument those are the top 2 teams in college football. But, David, Michigan's offense, if you're Sharon Moore, where do you go from here, and what did you think about the game plan overall?
Yeah, so 2 more thoughts here on each program. You're talking about Texas on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah, they really showed up. I think we found out a lot more about Texas on offense, though, against Michigan's defense. Michigan right now is so inept on offense that, Texas played really well, but a large part of that can just be because Michigan just can't get anything going. I also think Texas on offense, using up-tempo, that was very, very effective, especially through the first half, to be able to get the lead that was necessary. When you talk about some of the mistakes that were made by Texas early with the procedural penalties, that was because of Michigan's home field advantage. Guys, it was absolutely rocking in there. You couldn't even hear yourself think. So, but once Texas gets out to a 14-3 lead, which that up tempo really helped, all of a sudden the crowd was taken out of it. Michigan on offense, look, they're going to have Arkansas State next week. Let's all hope that's a get me over game. That's a get back right sort of game. But to me, some of the problems can't be fixed. Yes, the offensive line can come together. Yes, we can start to run the ball more effectively. But the quarterback situation is going to be what it is. I don't understand. You can't move on now from Davis Warren. Possibly Jack Tuttle comes back from injury, but I don't know how much you're hoping for there. With Alex Orji, if we're lining up in 3rd and 1 and we're going to put Orji at quarterback to run this wildcat and this Q power type design, if he can't even get 3rd and 1 and that's his greatest strength, then there's no need to even put him in the football game. Right. So, look, there's a lot of things that need to be addressed before Arkansas State. And another thing, just for Michigan, look, you went 15-0 last year. You lost your head coach. You lost your defensive coordinator. You lost your strength trainer. 18 of 22 starters are gone, most of whom went to the NFL. Even if it is a 7-5 or an 8-4 season, that's going to be very disappointing with some of the All-Americans you return. But that also is normal following a national championship year for most programs. Not everybody is Alabama and Georgia that just reload like that every season. So, look, we're going to find out more when USC comes to town in 2 weeks. And if Michigan can get it back right, then the Big Ten play should still be exciting.